Where did Solomon get all that wisdom? You've heard some of these stories before, no doubt. The judgment of the two mothers, for example. Solomon sat on his throne and heard two women arguing over a baby. Each woman claimed to be the real mother, and Solomon didn't know who it was. So what to do? He ordered the baby to be brought in, cut in half, and each woman would get half. When the real mother heard this, she was horrified. She didn't want her baby to be killed. And in that moment, Solomon knew he had the right mother. That's one of the most famous stories of Solomon's wisdom. But where did it come from? Well, if you keep reading the Bible, you find out that one day the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream and said, "Ask me, and I will give you whatever you want." Now, this is quite an offer. You could ask for more land, more gold, more power, but Solomon didn't. He didn't ask for anything for himself. Instead, he asked for wisdom, the ability to make good decisions, to govern well, and to see things clearly. Wow, what a man. How many of us would have done the same? Would you have done the same? We might say we would, but really, we don't know. We've never been faced with that decision. Solomon was a young man thrust into a position he wasn't prepared for. His father, King David, had passed away. As the young king, Solomon was insecure and afraid. The nation looked to him for leadership, and he felt the weight of that responsibility. I imagine his mind racing with thoughts about how to build the kingdom, how to defeat Israel's enemies, how to rule fairly. And in the midst of all that pressure, his greatest desire was to honor God. So he prayed, and his prayer was simple. God, help me. I need wisdom. Now, the Bible doesn't say that Solomon prayed like this, but this is my prayer today. God, help me. I need wisdom. I want to please you, but I also want to do things right. I feel inadequate and unprepared, but you have called me to this. Help me. That's my prayer. And I believe that's Solomon's prayer too. And God really came through for Solomon in such an incredible way. Imagine this. He asked for wisdom, and what did he get? Wisdom beyond measure. In 1 Kings 3-9 it says, "Because you have asked for this, and not for long life, nor for riches, nor for the destruction of your enemies, but for yourself. I have given you a wise and discerning heart, so that there has been no one like you before you, nor shall there be any after you." Isn't that just mind-blowing? Think about it. Solomon could have asked for so many things: more power, heaps of gold, or even to wipe out his enemies. I mean, as a king, he had access to a lot of those perks already, but he went a different route and chose wisdom instead. And here's the kicker. God actually praised him for that choice, saying, "You're one of a kind." That's a huge deal, right? It means Solomon was truly unique, standing out from everyone else, because he prioritized wisdom over worldly things. This story reminds us that sometimes, the best thing we can ask for isn't riches or power, but the insight to make better choices. It's a powerful lesson about valuing wisdom in our lives. So, what do you think? Isn't it inspiring to see how choosing wisdom can set you apart? God really came through for Solomon in such an incredible way. Imagine this. He asked for wisdom, and what did he get? Wisdom beyond measure. In 1 Kings 3-9 it says, "Because you have asked for this, and not for long life, nor for riches, nor for the destruction of your enemies, but for yourself. I have given you a wise and discerning heart, so that there has been no one like you before you, nor shall there be any after you." Isn't that just mind-blowing? Think about it. Solomon could have asked for so many things: more power, heaps of gold, or even to wipe out his enemies. I mean, as a king, he had access to a lot of those perks already. But he went a different route and chose wisdom instead. And here's the kicker. God actually praised him for that choice, saying, "You're one of a kind." That's a huge deal, right? It means Solomon was truly unique, standing out from everyone else, because he prioritized wisdom over worldly things. This story reminds us that sometimes, the best thing we can ask for isn't riches or power, but the insight to make better choices. It's a powerful lesson about valuing wisdom in our lives. So, what do you think? Isn't it inspiring to see how choosing wisdom can set you apart? One day, two mothers showed up at his doorstep, both claiming to be the mother of the same baby. Talk about a tough situation, right? Solomon, with his brilliant mind, proposed an outrageous solution. He suggested cutting the baby in half. While it sounds shocking, it revealed the true mother's love, when she immediately offered to give up her claim to save her child. This moment solidified Solomon's fame as a wise judge and a leader who could solve even the trickiest dilemmas. Isn't that just wild? The Bible shares some really amazing stories about King Solomon, right? One of the most impressive things he did was build the first temple in Jerusalem, which was known as God's house on earth. Can you imagine the excitement? When the temple was finally finished, Solomon led a huge dedication ceremony that brought the whole nation together. It was a big deal. In his heartfelt prayer, he didn't just thank God for the wisdom he received, but also for guiding him through the whole process of building this incredible place. He truly felt grateful for the strength to lead his people. It was a moment of unity and faith that resonated deeply with everyone there. And then we see Solomon writing his Proverbs. Most of us know Proverbs. Solomon's Proverbs: 31 women, a virtuous woman, Proverbs 22, a fool, and a wicked person. All these are from Solomon. In fact, The book of Proverbs tells us that Solomon wrote 3,048 proverbs. Wow. That's a lot of wise sayings. And so we think of Solomon as the wisest man who ever lived. But let's go back to 1 Kings, chapter 11. We've been looking at verse 43, which says that the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream and said, "Ask me, and I will give you whatever you want." And Solomon said, "You have acted wisely in my sight, since you have asked for this and not for long life, nor for riches, nor for the destruction of your enemies. But for yourself I have given you a wise and discerning heart, so that there has been no one like you before you, nor shall there be any one like you after you." But look at verse 26. Then Solomon built high places for Baal Peorim, Milcom, whose name is also called Crun, for Cathan, for Astarte, the goddess of the Zidon, and for Yam, the god of the sea, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. And this was at the high places that were on every high mountain, and on every green hill. And so he did, being very zealous for the gods of his father's household. What's going on here? The Bible says that Solomon loved the Lord, but yet he built shrines for pagan gods. He worshipped false gods. How can we explain this? Well, I think the answer lies in verse 3, which says that Solomon went far from following the Lord. Why? Because the Lord had set his heart on wisdom. Solomon thought that he could serve God and do what he wanted. He thought he could honor God and compromise with sin. He thought he could walk with God while serving pagan gods. But we know that we can't do that. Jesus said, "No man can serve two masters." So when did Solomon stop walking with God? Was it when he started writing his Proverbs? Was it when he built the temple? Was it when he made judgments? No, the Bible says that Solomon stopped walking with God when he married foreign wives. He married 700 women of royal birth and 300 concubines, and these women eventually led him astray. The Bible warns us that compromise is dangerous. Solomon compromised with sin, and slowly his heart turned away from God. Now, you might be tempted to think, that's okay, I'm just a little bit like Solomon. I mean, I pray, and I read the Bible, and I try to walk with God, but I have my moments. I mean, I fall short sometimes, but overall, I'm pretty good. But remember, Solomon started off as a man after God's own heart. He was devoted to God. He prayed before major decisions. And yet he allowed his heart to turn away. So what do we learn from this? Well, wisdom alone isn't enough. Solomon had more wisdom than anyone else, but he wasn't wise enough to stay faithful to God. God does give us wisdom, but we must be obedient. We must obey God, trust God, and follow God, because if we don't, our hearts can turn away, even if we know a lot about God. So what should we do? Well, we should pray for wisdom, but we should also pray for obedience, for strength, and for purity. We need God's help every day to overcome sin, to choose holiness, and to stand against compromise. So what do you think? What did you learn from Solomon's life? Do you see your life in some ways reflecting his life? How is God using you to bring light into darkness, to bring truth into a world full of lies, to bring hope to people who are discouraged? Are you wise? Do people come to you for help? Or maybe you're more like Solomon in some other way. What areas of your life need prayer? Well, here's my prayer for you. God, I pray that we will listen to what you say, that we will trust your word, that we will put our hope in you, that we will put our faith in you. And God, I pray that you will give us wisdom, that you will give us discernment, that you will open our eyes to see things clearly, that you will show us what we need to change, that you will help us to live pure lives, and that you will give us strength to do what is right. God, I pray that we will not compromise, that we will not allow the enemy to deceive us, that we will not allow ourselves to become indifferent, that we will walk closely with you, that we will obey your voice, that we will trust your word, that we will seek you every day, that we will put our hope in you, and that we will put our faith in you. God, I pray that we will live holy lives and that we will stand strong for you. Would you like to subscribe to our channel? We post videos like this one every week. Just click on the subscribe button. Also, let us know what you thought about this video in the comments section. Thanks for watching. See you next time.